Hello, it's Jay here again and welcome to another tutorial. In this lesson we are continuing on with the enemy attack script, and if you've noticed I also have the player health script open, and maybe you'd like to pause the video and open your health script as well because we will be referencing it. But I'm just going to downsize Mono Develop for now. And I'm just going to say before we continue on, as you can see up the top here, I've upgraded to Unity 5.5. Now, it didn't cause any issue with the scripts we created, but I did find I had to re-import the standard assets. So I just deleted the editor folder and the standard assets and re-imported them all. And as you can see, the editor folder is now created within these standard assets. So with that said, let's continue on. And we have all of this in place for now. And this is done. We have no more code to add to these functions. And in this video, we're just going to continue on and fill out this function here. So first things first, up at the top, if open brackets, damage activated, double equal true, we'll close brackets. Now, no need to close the line off at this point. Into the comments, and we'll say if damage activated is equal to true, we'll come to the next line and we want our usual return line. So return, close the line off, and into the comments then do nothing and return. And we want to create another if block. Underscore attack cooldown is greater than 0, close brackets. Again, no need to close the line off, and we'll just put it into the comments. So if attack cooldown is greater than 0, and let's just copy and paste the return line in there. And I'll enter again. Now, I'll come back to these 4 lines of code in a moment, but these are to stop the constant damage to the player. But for now, we need to reference our player health script. And we're going to create a temporary variable. So let's just call it underscore temp1. And we'll add the 1 because we'll need other temps very shortly. And we're going to say that is equal to game object with the capital G. We want to find game object with tag singular, not the plural. And we want to find the player. So again, we'll open and close brackets, speech marks, and player with the capital P. We'll come to here to the end of the line, we'll say dot, and we want to get component, open bracket, and it's the player health that we actually want to get, the script. We'll open and close brackets, we'll close the line off. And let's break this line up for commenting. So I'm actually going to enter after the equals, and let's enter after the dot here. And we'll get this into the comments. So we'll say underscore temp1 is equal to, and we'll come to the next line. First, find player game object and get the health script. And that's as simple as that line is. We're referencing this script, temporary variable, and we're saying it's equal to, and we're going to find the player and then get the health script, the player health script. And then we need to do something with that variable. So we say underscore temp1 dot, and what we want is apply damage to player. And if I come to the player health script, as you can see, we've already created the void here, apply damage to player. And this is where we are able to minus the damage amount from the current player health. So we're accessing that function, it's just that we're doing it from the enemy attack script. And we can do that because we've got the component and this temporary variable is equal to it. So we'll open and close brackets, we'll close the line off. We'll come inside the brackets and we want the damage dealt to player. Now this should be the same naming convention as you've used here, which I have set to a value of 5. And let's put this into the comments. We'll say, let's say, yeah, then access, and we'll copy that naming convention. Then access the apply damage to player function and pass in damage dealt value. And that's as simple as this line really is. All we're doing is taking this value of 5, damage dealt to player here, and we're passing it into that function. So this value then becomes, if we come to the player health, this value here. When it's passed into the function, it becomes this int. So this becomes a value of 5. We already have access to this function, and then we're saying now we've passed in the value, let's minus that value from our current player health. And with that, we will now be able to damage the player. But we have a few more things to do, so let's copy all 4 of these lines and we'll paste them in below, and we'll change what needs to be changed. So this time let's say underscore temp2, we'll change the comment, and the rest can be the same because we're still going to modify the player health script. We'll come here, we'll say temp2, and we need to access another function, and this time it's going to be the adrenaline boost. Let's just copy that naming convention into here. So we're now saying then access the adrenaline boost function, and it's this value here we want, the adrenaline boost amount, which I've given a value of 25, and that's what we're going to pass in this time. I'll just save that there for a moment. So if you remember, we had a situation where if the player wasn't out of breath and able to move, obviously we're doing nothing and returning. But if the player's run out of breath, so in this case it would equal true, it reads these 2 blocks. Because of this line of code here, we're able to pass in an adrenaline boost, which boosts the current player's stamina, giving the player opportunity to run away and escape the enemy. And it works exactly the same. We just take that value of 25 here, look. We pass it in, it becomes this int here, that value, and then we add it this time to the current player's stamina. And we have 2 more lines to do. We'll say damage activated equal true. 1 equals this time because we are setting it to true. Let's put this into the comments. We'll say set damage activated to true, and we'll come here, underscore attack cooldown is going to be equal to, and we want the attack cooldown reset. We'll close the line off into the comments, and we'll say set attack cooldown to equal reset value, and we'll save that off there. So the way this works, if I come back to the scene, we have our enemy game object, and let's just find the enemy attack. So let's center on that. So we have a sphere collider attached to the enemy's right hand. Now obviously the damage activated is false and cooldown is 0 on startup, which means the enemy can damage the player straight away as soon as it attacks. However, once it attacks and the sphere collider on this game object hits the player, we first apply the damage dealt, we apply the adrenaline boost if applicable, and the health script will manage that. But then we set damage active to true and attack cooldown to attack cooldown reset, which is a value of 1. And that will remain the case until the player has exited the collider, just this collider here. And this is because it would keep applying a value of 5 constantly on one attack, and it could literally drain the player health in one go. So that's the reason for all of this, to make sure we cannot continue to apply damage to player until we've had time for the attack cooldown to run down, damage activated is false, and then we can go on, and with the next strike it will hit the player again. This becomes active and we can damage the player for a second time. And if you don't understand this, what I suggest is commenting out these 4 lines here, and you'll see what happens when you do. But for now, let's save that off, and let's downsize mono develop, and let's go and test this out. We'll hit play, and we may just have to wait a moment. There we go. Let's come to the console, just clear that down for the moment. Let's turn on the flashlight so we can see what we're doing, and we'll turn on the GUI. So as you can see, health 100 out of 100. So let's let the enemy attack us now. And as you can see, if I come back out, here we have a value of 95 out of 100 now, which is correct. We have a damage value of 5. And if we go back towards the enemy, and let's stop that there. So you could see the health running down within the game. So we can now apply damage to the player. And I think we're going to leave it here for this lesson. We do have more to do, but we actually have another script to make, which is going to work along with the enemy attack. But we'll leave that for another day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you next time, and until then, as always, bye for now.